Almost 8 years ago, Blood Bowl 2 was released. I bought it, played it some, but never truly got into it. Last year, I decided to give it another shot. Now that I was a bit more mature, I appreciated it far more. I fell in love with the humor, the turn-based mechanics, the more vibrant style that complemented the graphics, the different races, teams, ways that they can get unalived by something as simple as tripping over their own feet. It was my introduction to the Warhammer universe that I have had a deep appreciation for to this day. So when Blood Bowl 3 released, it was better in every way, right? It had updated graphics, improved mechanics, new music, even more hilarious dialogue, far smarter AI, a deeper campaign with improved upon role-playing elements, deeper customization that really fleshes out the Warhammer aspect, barely any bugs and glitches. It was a true love letter to the fans that have patiently waited half a decade for it to come out, that have waited out of love for the property and respect for the developers and the creative process that comes with making a game. It was almost perfect, wasn't it? Not exactly. In fact, take everything I said it should be, and that's what it's not. The love isn't here, the heart doesn't show, where passion should be, all I see is profit. The servers at launch are laughably awful. The single player isn't even a campaign anymore. Instead, it's these stupid chapter things that don't even unlock correctly, and don't make me feel like I'm accomplishing anything at all. In fact, there's no replay at the end of matches, and have been moments when the score didn't even match up to the in-game score, and I don't really know how you managed to do that, what? The rules have had an update to mechanics, but no real quality of life improvements. The graphics are far uglier, with a color scheme that complements nothing, and reminds me of a soulless Disney remake with its muddy, dark, and damp colors that cause everything to blend together into a disappointing mess. The UI is absolute dog water. It takes 3 minutes to go from screen to screen because it lags for some reason, even when you're on offline mode. Even without the lag, just the way it looks and the way that it is set up, it's still a downgrade from BB2. Besides just the UI, the entire game has lost its style, and I even think that some of the character models look exactly the same as BB2, like pulled from one game and put right into the next, with no updates at all. Speaking of the characters, the AI is just as stupid as always. Actually, no, scratch that, it's even worse. They make the same dad blame cage formation every time they get the ball, and then they stand like bozos until they run out of turns. Come on, try to run it or something. Do something new. Speaking of doing something, the randomization of the dice seems to be more XCOM than BB2, considering I have had far more bad plays than good ones. It doesn't seem to matter what the chance is for something good to happen, I'm gonna get screwed over anyway. Just like the game decided to screw over freaking Bob and Jim too. And I loved Bob and Jim. They were the best part of Blood Bowl 2. Even whenever I lost, they still managed to make me laugh. Now we never see them banter, instead we just hear the same voice lines on repeat, but at least they are new lines, right? Right? Oh my dear viewer, of course they are reusing multiple lines from Blood Bowl 2. You silly goose. You expected something new from a sequel? What a riot. They get the subtitles wrong though, so I guess if you have your game on mute and just read them, then they're kinda new. We did get us some new races though, so we got that going for us. They have multiple teams too, even more than Blood Bowl 2 at launch. Good news? Nope. They take races from other teams and mix and match them onto the quote-unquote new ones, which cool, but also it doesn't feel very new that way. Plus, it's too bad if we want to customize those babies since we gotta give money like we never bought the game to begin with. Which, thank God I didn't. But I feel even worse because someone went out of their way to get it for me just so I could review it. Everything customization-wise costs money, and you're probably thinking you could use in-game currency and get what you want with a little bit of grinding. But the game doesn't give that option, oh no. You gotta shell out to get that currency. Real money. Your money. Even better is you actually have to buy each cosmetic item for each player. It's not buy it and use it endlessly, you can't decide to outfit your whole team with these cosmetics, it's a one-player item. That's it. Your team also can't transfer from offline single player to multiplayer, or at least I couldn't get it to, so that would be double the price if you want to deck out two teams. Having no way to grind it also ruins incentive to, I don't know, play the game. Because even if you love the gameplay, which is currently a broken mess, Warhammer is all about customization, you dotes. This isn't your same copy-paste Madden Supreme fanbase that likes it doughy and half-baked right out of the oven. We like deep, meaningful, and personal customization with well-done, fully fleshed out mechanics to boot. And even if we don't really want to get too in-depth with it, we kinda like it if our guys look cool. We'll get to that later. When I say that's my team, buddy, you better be able to tell that I made it mine, and I shouldn't have to pay my way just to fill that in a game based around that feeling. The customization in this game isn't even worth the money. It isn't. Some of it looks like you just plastered cardboard onto a character. It's not very good. So if it's not worth making a team look, feel, and play like I want, with characters that I care about and would rather not die, even though carnage surrounds them, then what reason do I have to play? Why suffer through a broken game just to have my experience barred off by microtransactions? Why is this a lesson that game after game needs beat into them? I platinumed Babylon's Fall, and although it had a multitude of problems, at least playing was slightly rewarding. It's a cold day in the desert when I say Babylon's Fall did it better, but dang did you burn me with this one, so I have no choice but to give you the cold shoulder. Also, a roadmap? Seriously? The live service model is dying. Let it die, or you'll go down instead. I was honestly kinda happy with how that would have ended, but somebody far smarter than me went out of the way and gave me another reason to be both disappointed and very ticked off. They already have the next teams in the game files, not the next one, not just one team. Oh no, we've got ourselves a list here, okay? We've got the first one being the Lizardmen, then the Shambling Undead, Wood Elves, Goblins, Halflings, Necromantics, and the Underworld. That's just all they've seen so far. Now let's go ahead and take a look, shall we? They have pictures, just in case you didn't believe me, or believe them. Here's the Goblins. They've got a full-fledged description, they've got character models, they've got everything. The Goblins do not make good Blood Bowl players. However, two secret weapons make up for this slight weakness, an arsenal of gadgets and an alliance with the Trolls, who willingly throw them all over the pitch. I mean, you can see here, you can see different teams. There we go, we got elves. The Wood Elves have turned their back on the Elven kingdoms. Raised in the respect of nature, they only eat seasonal products and are in communion with the forest on a daily basis. Their war dancers combine grace and power. Right there, necromantic horror. One day, modernist necromancers realized there was no better justification for bringing the dead back to life than to have them play Blood Bowl. Their artistic power, because necromancy is an art, gave rise to flesh golems created from a variety of corpses. And I know that these races and the teams involving them were DLC for Blood Bowl 2, but I was never able to afford it, so I figured when the next game came out, it would have everything that made the last game a full game, and it doesn't. And we have screenshots of these races on teams, on the field, and I mean, these teams look really cool. Especially the Necromantic Horror. I mean, that's the one that I'd be playing as right now. I mean, look, it's just so disappointing that they're already this planned out, and then they gave us those half-baked teams filled with the same races that have their own teams. I mean, this would have improved the game, even though the mechanics would still be a bit busted. It would be nice to have stuff like this, or at least look like they cared at launch. Shambling Undead, representing the traditionalist class of necromancy, these teams pick their players from the cream of the beyond, especially 1,000-year-old mummies, whitened skeletons, and starving ghouls. And yet, they do not scorn a freshly risen zombie if he is stolen from the opposing team. Putting cream and white in the same description probably wasn't a good idea, but I digress. Like, you know how cool that would be? To be able to take your enemy's teammates and put them on your team? It's just beyond disappointing. You see all these players we could have had, all these teams we could have had, all these different matchups we could have had. Even though the game isn't necessarily fun gameplay-wise at launch, we could have made our own fun with freaking teams like this. A glitch happens, a teammate dies, you bring him back to life, an enemy falls off the map or something stupid. Who knows what'll happen? At least it'll be more enjoyable if you have teams that can do something new like freaking necromancy. Why would you limit the fun factor of your game for profit whenever the only way that you can get profit off your game is if it's fun? I know I've already said it, but like, what? I don't understand the mindset here. You're doing the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing. This reminds me of freaking Suicide Squad. Nobody wanted a live service game. Nobody. When it was revealed, everybody was hyped that the Arkham makers were making a story-based game. They were hyped because it's gonna be story-based, not looter-based, not live servicey. Why can you not understand? I don't really get it. It's so stupid. It is so dumb, so dumb, so dumb. My brain is melting. It is completely melting. If you didn't hate Blood Bowl 3 before this, if the bad mechanics didn't throw you off, if the stupid new design choices, the lazy color palette, the fact that the teams are just shoving different races into teams and making them work together even though they don't really make much sense or really do anything new because they're the same characters we already have, if that didn't take you off, if the bad server issues, the fact that you lag whenever you're trying to go through the menus, if the fact that nothing is working correctly and it's not really going to and they're trying to take all your money with microtransactions just to customize your teams didn't tick you off, then the fact that the teams that could have been in the game to make the game better are in the code, in the very game files that come with the game at launch should. I mean, they're literally scamming you. They're giving you a full game and then hiding some of it so they can charge you for it later. That is beyond aggravating. I wasn't gonna tell you, don't buy Blood Bowl 3, because I thought, maybe, just maybe, somebody could still find enjoyment out of the game. And I didn't want to take that away from you. But screw it. And screw you too, Nacon. Nobody buy this game. Please. Because if you're worried about the developers getting money, well, I hate to say it, but they're probably not getting the majority of it anyway. The publishers are. So if you really want to support some developers that don't lie to you. Support some developers that are actually worth your time. I actually just did a Kickstarter for Sword of the Necromancer Revenant, and you should be able to pre-order it, I would assume, sometime. So just keep an eye out for that, or wait for it to release if they don't do pre-orders, and get it that way. Actually support some indie devs that truly deserve it, that are listening to their community, caring about their fans, trying to improve upon the last game in meaningful ways. Support those people. Don't support the greedy, money-pushing scam artists that are behind Blood Bowl 3. They don't deserve it. Anyway, if you bought the game, I really want to know your thoughts. I am beyond intrigued, so let me know in the comments, and if you disagree with everything I said for some reason, do it respectfully. I said this in my last video, but people don't seem to quite understand what respect is. Don't be throwing insults around. Don't tell people to murder themselves. Just be nice. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and above all else, I hope you have a great day. Thank you.